Welcome back to another riveting firewall video. Today, in this next video, we want to talk about introducing a web server. In this scenario, we're going to have a Windows web server with the DNS name of good.org, which is my company name. We have manually configured this IP address of 55.6.3.2. Our Windows servers are all in subnet 3. We've decided for our organization that we are not going to use DHCP for our servers. So we've configured this, we've built our website. That website is hosted on this machine. And there's a whole configuration on how you configure the website and control it. We're not going to go into that right now. Right now we're just going to say there's a website on good.org or 55.6.3.2. This is a web page that we want open to the entire world. We want our employees to be able to see this website. We want our customers to be able to see it. We want potential customers, past customers. We want everybody to be able to see it. So that means two things. One, it needs to be accessible from inside of our organization and from outside of our organization. And so in the outside world here, we have user A, anonymous user, we don't care, that would like to see our web page. There are many ways you can go about configuring the number of firewalls. In this scenario, sometimes I like to start at the outside and work in and get closer and closer. So from the outside, from the border, I want to allow traffic into my network, which is dangerous, right? That's dangerous. We're saying, welcome to our network. And that is where we need to be very cautious with how we control that. So we're going to bring in traffic through our firewall through our border to this one specific server. So at the border, we're going to create a rule that says allow any incoming TCP traffic, because a web page is going to use TCP protocols, allow any incoming TCP traffic on port 443, because it's a secure server, a secure service, on 443 to 55.6.3.2. And so at this border, we're saying only allow incoming TCP traffic, very specific on our protocol, very specific on our port number, and very specific to the IP address that we are allowing in. So we have allow any incoming traffic on TCP port 443 to 55.6.3.2. Now, at this point, anybody in the outside world, they send that traffic, it will traverse the network, right? Good.org will traverse the network. DNS will do its process of translating it to an IP address. The routers will route us to our organization. The border firewall will look at it and say, I have an incoming packet on, an incoming TCP packet on port 443 to 55.6.3.2. I'm allowed to have that through. Now it'll traverse through the network directly to our server. Once it gets to our server will then have a firewall. Again, because it's just port 443 to the entire world, this is easy. We just say the same rule, allow any incoming TCP traffic on 443. We don't have to put our destination here because this is our destination. And so when we are traversing good.org from within our organization, it's not going to go to the outside world. It's going to go directly to our server that's on-prem hosted by us. It'll look at this firewall rule. This firewall rule will say as long as you're coming on port 443, it'll direct you to the website and it'll return the website. The exact same thing, the exterior users have to go through two firewalls. One, they have to go through our border firewall. Again, their traffic is coming on port 443 to 3.2. Once it gets through our border firewall, it traverses to the actual Windows web server. The Windows web server applies its firewall rules, looks at it, and investigates it. If it allows it through, it allows it through. If somebody were to do something non-standard and try to launch it on port 80, because that traffic, again, it would traverse to good.org on port 80, because good.org DNS will translate that IP address, send the traffic. But once it gets to the border firewall is going to inspect that packet and say, incoming traffic, incoming TCP traffic on port 80. Nope, I don't have a rule for port 80. So even though your TCP on 443 is allowed to 3.2, Port 80 is not, and so if it's not a secure network connection or secure encrypted web browsing connection, it'll kill it. So that's how, it's very basic how we get from an exterior firewall and an interior firewall to allow a web page open to the entire world.